Sponsored by Cheddar. Proof that just because something has holes doesn't mean it has depth. Looking at you, Paracelsus, and my last 3 relationships. Meet Paracelsus. Renaissance scientist, alchemist, total weirdo. Guy who put the mad in mad scientist before it was cool. He believed cheese was alive, not like, oh, this smells alive because I left it in my car for 3 weeks. No, he genuinely thought cheese had a soul, like a baby or a house cat. This guy looked at a block of Swiss and thought, yes, this is breathing. I must name it. I shall call you Gerald. Because apparently when you're a 16th century intellectual, the logical progression is, I've mastered alchemy, now let me have a heart-to-heart with dairy products. Let's back up. In the 1500s, people didn't have science the way we do now. They had vibes and a lot of wine. And every third person thought demons lived in their soup. Which, to be fair, have you seen medieval cooking? The demons were probably there for flavor. So when Paracelsus saw holes in cheese, he didn't think, oh, gas bubbles during fermentation, basic biochemistry. He thought, this cheese has a life force, and it's desperately trying to escape its dairy prison. He literally described cheese as exhaling its vital spirit through its holes. I'm sorry, what? My guy, that's not spiritual breathing. That's bacterial fermentation having a party in your food. But Paracelsus was committed to this bit. He wrote entire treatises about it. Imagine being his publisher. So, you want to write a book about cheese emotions? And you're serious? Okay, but we're also doing a cookbook, because at least that makes sense. He also believed that the shape, smell, and taste of cheese revealed its inner soul. Cheese wasn't just food. It was a living, feeling entity with hopes, dreams, and probably student debt. By his logic, that moldy cheese in your fridge isn't expired. It's just going through a goth phase. Dear Diary, today I was left out too long. They said I reeked. But I am still valid. Tomorrow, I will work on my boundaries and maybe try yoga. Now, Paracelsus wasn't alone in being absolutely unhinged about food. People used to think spoiled milk meant the cow had sinned. I wish I was kidding, but this is the same era where people thought tomatoes were poisonous and that taking a bath would kill you. If your butter curdled weird, that wasn't bacteria doing bacteria things. It was God personally punishing you for skipping church, talking back to your mother, or having impure thoughts about the baker's daughter. You see, my lord, I did stir it clockwise while humming hymns. But Satan must have snuck in during my lunch break and stirred it counterclockwise while playing heavy metal. In fact, if you were too good at making cheese, you could get executed. Because clearly you were using dark cheese magic. There were cases of women being accused of witchcraft because their cheese didn't crack. I repeat, too creamy equals suspicious. If it's not lumpy enough, certified witch. Does it taste amazing? Then burn her. Makes you lick your lips? Definitely a bitch. The defense attorney probably just stood up and said, my client makes good cheese, Your Honor. And the judge was like, guilty. Death by fondue fork. So, where does our cheese-whispering friend Paracelsus fit into this madness? Well, this man was absolutely obsessed with spiritus vitae, the life force that supposedly flows through all things. He thought rocks had souls. He believed metals had personalities. Actually, that one might be true. My car definitely has trust issues. And yes, cheese was like yogurt with character development. Which honestly explains why I feel so guilty eating an entire wheel of brie at 2 a.m. But wait, there's more. He also believed in homunculi, tiny human creatures you could grow in jars using blood, bones, and horse poop. You know, the usual Renaissance science experiments that definitely wouldn't get you arrested today. So by that logic, cheese, made from fermented bodily fluids, was kind of like a spiritual homunculus. Delicious, alive, probably judging your life choices, and definitely keeping a diary about your lactose intolerance. Cheese. Please, not the microwave again. I have so much to live for. I was going to start a podcast. Now here's the thing. Paracelsus may have been wrong about literally everything involving cheese consciousness, but he actually helped move medicine away from let's consult the stars about your stomachache toward actual chemistry. So yeah, he had deep philosophical conversations with dairy products, but at least he wasn't trying to cure your plague by balancing your humors with a side of leeches and a prayer circle. History. One giant leap forward for science. several slippery steps backward into madness, and somehow always ending up with cheese. Plus, think about it. If cheese really did have souls, imagine the existential crisis of a cheese platter. Why am I next to the brie? I'm clearly more sophisticated, and don't get me started on that processed cheese situation over there. So next time you open your fridge and think, this cheese smells off, remember, Paracelsus thought it was praying. So there you have it, the Renaissance, where science met insanity, and somehow cheese got caught in the middle. Subscribe to Bald Eagle, or your cheese will start a class action lawsuit against you for emotional neglect. And trust me, you don't want that guilt on your conscience. After all, if Paracelsus was right, they're all watching and taking notes. Okay, bye!